Iridium, hope you're doing all right today. Reaction time. Got a bit of a classic reaction here. Matt has messaged me and asked me to do this. A band called Cry Wolf and a song called Face Down in the Wishing Well. Well, I've never heard of this band, but Matt has asked me to do a couple of reactions. Have been really good. Heaven's Edge being one of them. So this band formed in the mid-80s. I do sometimes do older reactions, just to let you guys know. And now they're an American band. Now they've only had 3 albums out. The first one was in 1989, which this song is off of, which was a self-titled album. They'd Crunch out in 1990 and 2010 out in 2010. There you go. The band have been together from 85 to 94, 2007, and they're still going now. So this actual, I believe this album, Cry Wolf, self-titled album, was only released in Japan. Like, obviously, them times are hard for bands. Well, 89, it was still the hair metal glam sort of thing, which is what they look like, by the way. And I read a bit on Wikipedia about them. They're that sort of glam, sort of hair metal type thing. 89 was still okay. I think, you know, obviously grunge was just around the corner, but maybe this sort of music was dying off a little bit at that stage as well. Well, I know it was. It was coming to the end of it, wasn't it? So, difficult time for the band. You can see why another release, then they just, you know, disappeared for quite a few years after 94, for 13 years. And now they're still going now. So, without further ado, this is Cry Wolf, Face Down in the Wishing Well. Looking forward to this. Another band that I haven't heard of. Here we go. great, isn't it? It's just, oh man, you couldn't sum up the 80s more than that song, could you? Like, sort of proper cool heroics on the guitar. It's got that sort of definite glam, sleazy type feel of those mid to late 80s for sure. I mean, they just sum up what the 80s was all about. Just, you know, those brilliant vocals that have just got that little bit of sleaze in them as well. That great sort of bluesy edge to the guitars, I would say, on this. It's just brilliant. I mean, the trouble is, it's a bit like now. There's tons of bands that sound the same now, and it was the same back then. And I don't know, I suppose you could see it coming in the late 80s, really. But these are just as good as a lot of those bands that were around. That's the thing. Was it just oversaturated? Because there's lots of bands that sounded like this. But these are as good as all of those bands. So you can sort of understand where it's sort of trying to do something a bit different was probably the thing. And you could see something different coming around the corner, couldn't you? Because there were so many of these sort of bands that all really sound good. Definitely my type of thing. I love it. It's catchy. It's got a right proper groove to it. Production's quite good as well. I mean, it ain't the best production, but it's what they had probably back then to deal with. You know, they probably didn't have loads of money to spend on production. So they got the best, they did the best they could do, but it's really good. It's really clear. The guitars are really bright. The cat's starting again. But it's really good. I'm saying it's definitely got that sleazy feel to it as well, but that's good. Just what, you know, was sort of happening at those times. So I love it, man. Matt, it's a really good song. It's really cool as usual, and it's another band that I never heard of. I mean, there must have been so much about then. And also in the 80s, of course, we didn't have like tons of money, did we, as kids? So it weren't like we could go and get every album we ever wanted to get. So just another band that was missed really from probably a lot of people. But like I said, just as good as anything out of that time. Probably just needed something a little bit different. That's all. But a great band nonetheless. Let's listen to the rest of this. all songs used to fade back then as well, didn't they? And, man, I loved it. I mean, Singer really flexed his vocal cords at the end there. He sort of didn't sing that high up until when I stopped it, but at the end, just matched anyone at the time with that screaming, that high-pitched screaming, which I absolutely love it. I love it. I mean, it just did everything it was meant to do. I love the guitar solo. I love the way the guitar solo kept going in and out of like a rhythm section. So he'd play a bit of lead, then he'd do a right cool sort of riff, then go back into the solo again. That was pretty cool. But the song was great. It was just everything you want from 80s metal. And it just brings back memories, even though I've never heard of that song. It's just ticks every sort of 80s cliche, if you like, which is why we loved the time so much. Absolutely great. I loved it. A little bit of sleazy there as well. Party rock, I would say. Would you call it party rock? It does sound like something like that'd be on the Trick or Treat soundtrack or something like that, doesn't it? Absolutely superb. Thanks, Matt, for suggesting this. Crywolf, another band I've never heard of. Face Down in the Wishing Well. Check this band out if you want to. I don't know if they're on Spotify. They probably are because they're about now. So check them out. Let me know what you think in the comments. I'll see you next time.